Hello St. Luke's parents. Thank you for taking a moment to watch our short video about how to interpret your child's NWEA scores. In the next day or so, you will receive an envelope from St. Luke's containing your child's score report, and we wanted to take a moment to help you interpret the information contained inside of this envelope. As you know, St. Luke's administers the NWEA assessment 2 or 3 times per year depending on your child's grade level. We use these scores to measure how our students are progressing and also to give us an idea how our students are performing relative to other students at similar grade levels across the country. Inside the envelope you receive, there will be a cover letter, your child's NWEA score report, which will look like the image that has just appeared on your screen. The third piece of paper you receive contains tables that roughly map scores to grade level equivalencies for each of the NWEA tests. Before we get into the tests, let's talk about what you'll see on the graph. On each graph will be 3 lines. One of the lines will be blue. This blue line shows your students' scores. A second line will be orange. The orange line is labeled District Average RIT, which is fancy speak for basically saying this is the average score for all SLES students at a given grade level. The light blue line on the graph shows the average score of all students across the country taking the NWEA test at the same grade level. For the 2013-14 school year, over 6.5 million students were tested by the NWEA. So this gives us some really great information about how our students are comparing to other students across the country. Here's a sample of one of the graphs. This graph shows the results of this student's mathematics tests. As you can see at the top of the graph, there are capital G's followed by a number. The number indicates the grade level of the child when the test was taken. We can see from this graph that this student is a 5th grader. The final 2 data points on the graph, here and here, show this student's scores on the math assessment in the fall of 2013 and most recently in the spring of 2014. As we can see, this student's mathematics score increased during this school year. The dashed line shows the NWEA projected score for this student on the mathematics assessment 1 year from now, in the spring of 2015. This is just an estimate, but is included to let you know where you can reasonably expect your child to be based on their past performance. The other 2 lines, as mentioned earlier, show the average St. Luke's score on this test, as well as the average score across the nation on this test. So here we can see that this student outperformed the average St. Luke's student and the average student across the country by quite a significant margin. The same is true for the spring testing event. We can also see from this graph that the St. Luke's average is above the national average. On the third sheet of paper, you will find tables that look like this one. Every 3 years, the NWEA updates its normative data, which is fancy speak for saying every 3 years the NWEA compiles average scores for each test at all grade levels. The student who we were recently looking at is a 5th grade student. The data then for 5th graders across the country is shown across the row under grade level 5. The average 5th grader taking the NWEA test was scoring a 212.9 at the beginning of the school year. These same average students were scoring a 221.0 at the end of the year. If we look back at the previous graph for the student whose data we just showed, their beginning of the year score was a 236, which roughly means that this 5th grade student was testing at a similar level to a 9th grader at the end of the school year. The student's final score of a 239 roughly equates to a similar score for the average 11th grader. So this student is obviously performing far above average in mathematics. If you look at the graph for the reading score, at the bottom you will find, as you can see here outlined in red, a Lexile range. The Lexile range is shown to give parents an indication of the reading level and comprehension level of their child. At a library, it is common to find, especially in young adult and early reader sections, a Lexile score or Lexile range for a given piece of writing. Knowing your child's Lexile range can help you choose books that will not be too simple or too challenging for your child. As we can see, this student's Lexile range is a 1095 to 1245. Again, comparing this to national averages shows that this student is reading at a level equivalent to the average 11th or 12th grader. Again, a very impressive score for this student. Thank you for taking the time to watch this short video. If you have any questions about how to interpret your child's scores that were not covered in this video, please contact Chris Bertha or Kathy Trujillo, and one of us will be happy to help you out. Have a great week, and we look forward to seeing as many of you as possible at our Coffee and Conversation at 8:30 on May the 8th, a Thursday, in the church parlor. Take care.